Hello and welcome to Business and Life Mastery. This video is all about how to get personal power in your life today. I'll be covering the core principle that you need to lead a powerful life. And towards the end of the video, I'll cover some practical steps so you can have a powerful life as well. Now, I just want to qualify myself before I talk about this, because I know that there's a lot of YouTubers out there, a lot of them in their early 20s, saying, oh yeah, they lead powerful lives, but have they really lived their lives powerfully? Have they really lived their lives? So over the past few years, I've completed a number of passion projects which have seen me write comedy, interview Hollywood talent, travel the world and build and sell 5 businesses. Now, in the last 16 years in particular, I would say I've very much lived a created life. And I say this not to brag, but to really let you know that I've lived a created life, and I want to pass this knowledge on so you can follow your passion and have a powerful life too. I also want to clarify what I mean by being powerful, as people can make it mean a whole bunch of different things. And what I mean by being powerful is that you will have total control over the direction that your life goes in. You also take action to move your life forward in whatever way you want it to move forward, without anything stopping you or holding you back. And I really believe in order to be truly powerful in your life, there are some key distinctions that you need to maintain. Now, in this video, I'm covering the key foundation that you need to lead a powerful life, which is integrity. So what is integrity? Integrity for me is a few things. First of all, it's honouring what you said you would do by when you said you would do it. It's doing what others expect you to do and managing others' expectations of you as well. It's also honouring who you are in the world at the level of self. Now, what integrity is most definitely not, it's not doing the right or wrong thing as judged by others, and it's not something to make you or others right or wrong. So why isn't everyone empowered and living powerful lives? Well, there's a few reasons. I think first of all, it takes someone being open-minded, disciplined, and it takes a lot of practice. And let me tell you, it is not easy. If it was, everyone would be constantly empowered all the time with lives they absolutely love. And I look at it in a similar way that I look at going to the gym. If you go to the gym just once or twice and then you never go again, don't expect to have a body like Arnold flipping Schwarzenegger. And that's the same for being empowered and living a powerful life. You really need to live in the distinctions and practice them over and over and over. I think another big reason why people don't live powerful lives is that they're given by decisions that they've made up about themselves, others, or the world at a very young age, and they're not willing to consider that something else might be possible. Now, this in itself is a huge point and fully justifies a whole video being made on it. It really is the concept of your past is in your present and your future is not essentially in the past. But this video is more about the core principle, so I will move on. If I do make another video about that at some point, you'll find a link up here somewhere. So, what does it take to experience a new level of power at the level of self? Well, it takes a new level of honesty and integrity, because let me tell you, it is way easier to lie to others and yourself most of the time rather than to tell the truth. It takes honouring what you said you would do by when you said you would do it. So when you commit to something, whether it be a scheduled appointment, a meeting, or an action that you've promised to someone, then move heaven and earth to stick to what you've agreed. If you do, people around you will listen to you as someone who they can count and rely on. Now, when people around you really start listening to you as someone who is consistently their word, then you really start creating an environment of people around you who listen to you as someone who is really powerful. And when people listen to you as someone who is really powerful, let me tell you, it makes consistently being powerful a whole lot easier. But even more than that, you'll start being able to rely and count on yourself, because self-doubt is the biggest stop to our power above all else. And the best way to counter self-doubt is self-belief. And yet you get some pump up by listening to some motivational talk, which will give you maybe a little bit of self-belief for a short period of time, a few hours, a day or two. But it's only when you start taking action which will support the self-belief that you have about yourself do you then start to see real change. Have you ever known anyone in your life who, no matter what, you just knew that you could not count on them to follow through with what they promised? What does their life look like? Are they living a powerful life? Have they got a dream job, a great relationship? On the flip side, do you know someone who is always on time no matter what? Someone who is just really committed, someone who can really rely on? What does their life look like? Now I'm guessing it looks a whole lot different to the first person. Being on time, or God forbid, early for a meeting or following through with an action that you promised to someone isn't really about that meeting or that action at all, not in this context. It all really boils down to your own personal power. And yeah, sometimes shit happens, like a family emergency, which means you have to drop everything and be there for a loved one. I get it, I've done that before in the past. Or maybe you have a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, which could forward your life or career in a way that you couldn't imagine happening at any other time. And you really have to cancel or rearrange a meeting, a scheduled appointment, or you really can't follow through on an action that you've promised. That's fine, but at very least have power over the situation. Don't be a victim of circumstance. Get in communication with the person you made that agreement with, reschedule it without drama and story, and move on. Now again, there is no right or wrong here. There's a way to be around your word that will give you power in your life, and there's a way to be which will not give you power in your life. And I think the last point to maintain is really honouring who you are in the world at the level of self. Now, I won't go into too much detail here about that point, because again, it's another really big juicy point, because in order to follow this step, you need to have a clear handle on what you stand for in the world and what your purpose actually is. If you haven't done that before, then it's really worth checking out my video on finding your purpose. I'll put a link up here. And once you're clear about your purpose and what you stand for, then create action and have your life really be in line with that action as well, and be in line with your stand. So, for example, if you're really clear that you want to be a fireman, but right now you're an investment banker, then have changing your career be an integrity issue. Also, if there's a relationship in your life which is not aligned with who you declare yourself to be, then change it or end it. Walk your truth and honour yourself. The truth will always set you free. So, let's move on to practical steps. So how can you get the core principle of integrity in place in your life? Well, let me tell you, it's time to do some cleaning up. And what we really need to do is to really go through your life and look at anywhere your integrity has been out. And here's the kicker, I want you to clean it up. Now to do this, I know it's going to take something. It will take calling people that you may not have spoken to in a while. It may feel embarrassing, maybe even humiliating. Now you really want to separate yourself from the world of what is right and what is wrong here. Because again, the whole reason and context for doing this is getting your power back, getting you powerful. And when I first did this exercise, I still had a tripod from a photography course I did 10 years in the past. And I returned it. I actually made the effort, go to my old college. I met up with my old photography teacher and I gave him the tripod. And he was completely blown away that I did that. And the other thing that I discovered as well, before I returned that tripod, I would always walk, if I ever went by my college, I'd always take a certain route which would avoid the photography department, because right in the back of my head there was this tiny little bit of guilt that I really kind of buried under layers and layers of God knows what. And when I gave it back, I was free of that. My integrity in the area was complete, and I didn't have to take any weird detours to make sure I didn't bump into my photography teacher again. So I want you to now grab a sheet of paper, and at the top I want you to write, "This will give me power." And then below that I want you to write a list of all of your out of integrities. Who have you lied to? Who have you been dishonest to? Is there anything that you've borrowed that you haven't given back to someone? Was there anything you were late for recently that you didn't take responsibility for? did someone expect something from you and you just didn't deliver? It's really up to you to look at how far back in your life you want to go with this. But I would suggest going as far back as you can, because again, the more points you get to complete, then the more power that you're really going to get in your life. So please do work your way through that list, and once you've completed your list, I want you to work your way through cleaning everything up. And again, if anything starts to pull you away from the list, look at the title at the top. This will give me power. Remember the context as to why you are doing this. So I really hope you enjoyed this video. Please do hit like, leave me a comment below, and subscribe. Until next time, take care of yourself and stay safe. I'll see you soon. Cheers.